Hi everyone! I wanted to do just a really quick live video. I've been talking to a few of you who I feel like, especially when you first get your starter kit and when you first start using oils, knowing how to use your diffuser and how to fill it up and how many drops to do can sometimes be a little confusing because you don't want to do it wrong and you've never done it before, and all of that is totally understandable. So I wanted to just go over really quick how to fill up your diffuser, couple like little rules of thumb, and with the Desert Mist diffuser, which most people get when they get their starter kit, it's like the most popular one. Just some settings on it that you might not be aware of. All this information is like in the manual, but like if you're anything like me, you might not read the manual when you first get something. So I'm going to show you exactly like what the settings look like, how I fill up my diffuser, about how many drops I do for this diffuser, and just so you have like a point of reference and that this video is in our group in case if you ever need to reference it, or if you have friends that sign up that need to reference it. So I'm going to show you guys. I'm in our bedroom right now. I'm going to flip the camera and show you our Desert Mist diffuser. So this is my nightstand right by our bed. I always keep like a kind of like a jug, a vase of water near the diffuser, just so that I'm not constantly like running the diffuser back to the sink and filling it up. So when you take the lid off, hey Sandy, when you take the lid off, then there's this other like little dome that's right here. I take this off too. And this is actually a good thing to know too. See how this is like a little bit yellow right here? That means it's time for me to clean my diffuser. So I use just a Thieves household cleaner, and I just spray it down and wipe it down with like a damp cloth or paper towel. It's pretty easy to clean. But that means that it's definitely time to clean your diffuser so that it works properly. So I'm going to fill up our diffuser for bedtime, and then that way I don't have to do it later. So I'm going to use lavender, and I'm going to use Gentle Baby. If you like using your oils for sleep support, I highly recommend using Gentle Baby. So with the Desert Mist diffuser, and here's kind of a good rule of thumb, there's no wrong amount of oils to put in your diffuser. So when you're starting out, especially because Young Living essential oils are the purest you can possibly get. There's no additives in there. There's no fillers in there. There's nothing fake in there. So a bottle of lavender is truly just like the distilled and steamed oil that comes out of the lavender flower or the lavender plant. So that's why it smells so strong, is because it's so concentrated, because that's the only thing that's in there is the oil from that plant or botanical itself. So a lot of people, when they're first using oils, are like, oh my gosh, it's so overpowering, it's so strong. And that's because typically we're used to the fake fragrances and the synthetic fragrances. So when you smell that pure oil, you're like, whoa, oh my gosh, this is what it really smells like holy crap. So what I always recommend is start small, and you can always add more. And that's when you're filling up your diffusers, when you're making rollers, really anything, when you're applying it to your skin, whatever you're doing, you can always add more, but it's harder to kind of detract it. So when you're filling up your diffuser to start, maybe start with like 4 or 5 drops total. For me, I like everything really strong. So I usually do like 8 to 10 in the Desert Mist diffuser. I just like that strong smell. But if you're starting out, start a little bit smaller, and then if you notice like, hey, I didn't really smell it as much, or I didn't notice its benefits as strongly, then add more as you go. So since I'm using 2 different oils, I'm going to do about 4 drops of each. So I'm going to do about 4 drops of lavender, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, because again, I really like it strong. And then I'm going to do about 4 or 5 drops of Gentle Baby. I love this one. Gentle Baby is great for obviously babies, but I am a full-grown adult and I love it for sleep support. And then have this water right by my bedside. I'm going to fill it up to that fill line. And then obviously put this back on top, and now we're going to get into the settings on this. So when you look at your diffuser, this out of the way, there's 2 buttons. So there's the power button, and then there's this light button. If you press the power button once, this is going to diffuse at, you can't really see it with the light settings, but this is going to diffuse at like the most powerful setting. The first setting is like the most powerful. If you tap this power button again, let me turn the light on, or maybe not. If you tap the power button a second time, then it still diffuses consistently out of here, but it's at a less intense output. Then if you tap this power button a third time, what's gonna happen is now it's gonna run on an intermittent setting. So the intermittent setting just means that it's diffusing on and off. So I think it's 30 seconds on or a minute on and then a minute off. And what that's gonna do is, number one, it's not gonna come out like as intense, but it's also going to allow the diffuser to run longer. So if you want it to diffuse, say like throughout the whole night when you're sleeping, then put it on that intermittent setting and it'll go on and off so that it lasts for a longer amount of time. So those are the 3 settings. You press the power button once, it's just the highest intensity. Press the power button a second time, it's still a consistent diffusing stream basically, but it's less intense. And then if you press it a third time, then it's that intermittent setting. So now the second button, there's a light button on here. So this is fun. This is why I love this diffuser. So if you press the light button right here, it changes the different light settings. This one I love. This is like a candle flicker setting. So this is really pretty. There's all these different light settings you can hear. The diffuser just went off because it's on the intermittent setting. So you can run through these light settings. The other key kind of component about this light button, if you just hold it down, the light goes off, but the diffuser is still running. So I personally really like that setting where the light is just off because I like to sleep in like pitch black. I have like an eye mask and everything. So I will run the diffuser usually on the second setting and then I'll just turn the light off. And if you hold that light button down, you can turn the light off while still having it diffuse. So kind of like simple, but again, like when you first get your starter kit, you know, you don't know what you don't know until you know it. Like I didn't know that. And then I found out probably months later, I'm like, oh my God, I wish somebody would have told me that I can turn this light off. I wish somebody would have told me that the power button does this. So now you guys know. I'll add like a description once I actually post this video, but hopefully that's helpful. If you have a different diffuser, then let me know if you know the setting, if you need help with the settings for that. But the other diffusers, like some come with a remote control, so it's kind of like self-explanatory. But if you ever have questions about that, or you feel like, oh, this question seems silly, there are no silly questions. None of us knew what we were doing with this stuff until we did it ourselves and figured it out. So we are all in it together. I am here to help you guys. If you have any random, weird, obscene questions, I'm your girl. All right, have a great, great weekend.